everybody, Harold here. Today I want to talk to you about the changes in Tailwind CSS 4.0 for borders. Real quick housekeeping. I'm going to again do this one in Tailwind Play. Since they no longer generate a default Tailwind config.js, basically you can do everything you want in here. If we need to go to if we need to go to Next.js, I will. But for now, we'll just use Tailwind Play. So just go to play.tailwindcss.com. You can do your JSX in the HTML page, and CSS page functions just like global CSS in a Next app. So for borders, you're probably used to seeing this. This is the default border uh, in version 3.0 and before. It would default to border gray 200. It no longer does that. I like this. I think it's an improvement. It now defaults to current color, which means it's the color of the text. In this case, the default text is black, so the border is defaults to black. If I wanted a red border, call it red text. If I used if I used red text, if I use red text, so text red 500, my border is going to change along with it. If you're used to using that gray default border, of course, you will have to change it back to gray 200, but they've made the default border color current color of text in Tailwind CSS version 4.0. Uh, let's do another example on a button. So just a simple button. We'll make it say easy. Let's give it some classes. Class equals, let's make it round in Tailwind. If you want to do round or square, you don't have to do height and width. You can just say size 48, uh, text, go with 4XL, uh, give it a border, rounded full. So we've got a big easy button. Let's give it a margin to get away from the edge. So an M10. And let's make that border 4. So an easy button. Of course, if we wanted to change the color and text, we could say text red 500. Okay. Spell text right. Okay, now we've got a red circle around our easy button with the text red 500, making the default border color red 500. So that shows you can use it on other elements, H1s, Ps, buttons, what have you. Another thing they changed was, and I'll just show you, if you're not familiar with ring, we'll do ring 4, goes around your border. So I've just doubled the size of my border by doing ring 4. You can say ring offset 4, and that puts it 4 away. So you've got a cool double ring. So that's what you do with ring. They don't want you, the creators of Tailwind have decided they don't want you to use ring for this anymore. If you want to do this double, and what you would use it for would be something like this to highlight your button. So you would say hover, ring offset 4. So when you're hovering or something, it highlights it with a circle around it. They want you to use outline instead now. Well, let's do an outline for um, outline offset for, and it's the same thing. And outline also works with the current color border default. Now that they've suggested you use outline instead of ring, they made a slight change for ring because the suggested use is now. Well, let's copy this button and take off the border and the outline. So what they want you to do with the ring is just a subtle outline, accent, just something, maybe even on hover where it just gives that light 1px. So it used to default to this fat one. It used to default to ring 3. They thought what, so when they decided in favor of outline, they just changed the default to ring 1 to just use it for that accent. So that's the changes in color, current color for border default, ring default, outline default. There's one more thing they've done for border, and that's added the positional utilities. I'm just going to erase all this and put up two H1s up here. One's going to say this text is left to right. In Yoda style, I'm going to say um, right to left. I can spell right to left is text this. It might seem strange, but you'll get the point in a minute. So let's make these bigger. We'll give them a class of um, margin 10, um, text. We'll go 6XL. And we'll copy that and put it in our other one. Paste. Okay, now we're ready. So when I say logical utilities, uh, there's two kinds, positional and left and right are positional utilities. So if I say border, what, L4, so that puts a border on the left. And if I down here say border R4, that will put a border on the right. So those are positional, left and right. The logical ones are start and end. So if I say border, and the new to version 4.0 of Tailwind are the logical variants, which are start and end. So if I say border start, that's the same as left. Border end, that's the same as right. So you may say, big deal, what's the difference? Well, the difference is when you use a different language that doesn't go from left to right, goes from right to left. Two prime examples are Hebrew and Arabic. So when I, in my head, when I have language equals en, it's defaulting to this. So you don't have to put this argument if you're doing English. Direction equals LTR. Okay. That's telling the CSS I want it to read it this way, left to right. That's the start. If I say, let's take down here, if your default language is Arabic or Hebrew, it defaults to right to left. And now end is the left in the RTL. Start is the beginning in the LTR. If I change this to end in LTR, it goes in the end. So you see now it's logical no matter what language you're using. The border will appear on the right side of on the start or end of the text. Of course, if you're using RTL and you say left, it's still left. That's positional. S is directional. Start on the right. So those are the major changes in borders, rings, etc. in Tailwind version 4.0. I hope you liked this video. Hope you got something out of it. If you did, please like and subscribe and leave me a comment, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.